Hey guys, so recently, just yesterday actually, Alyx put up a video talking about certain wrestlers in WWE contracts expiring next year in 2021. Now, Alyx did come out and acknowledge that he feels that there are those, maybe a few of them, that are going to be lifers with WWE. Names like Shinsuke Nakamura, Daniel Bryan, and a few others. Even though he did acknowledge that it would be beneficial for them to at least explore other options. Like Daniel Bryan, even though he has a position in creative, a position probably for life, and he's married to Brie Bella, that he should consider having one more run on the indies and maybe having one-shot appearances in certain promotions like Impact, AEW, and having on New Japan, and having those dream matchups against Okada or Omega, people like that. He even brought up the same thing with Shinsuke. He feels Shinsuke, even though he feels he's a lifer, because he's pretty much done everything in wrestling, Japan-wise, that needs to be taken care of, that yeah, maybe Shinsuke moving his family, if not already has moved his family to the States, could benefit from a change of atmosphere, like in a place like Impact or maybe even AEW, and apply his craft there and maybe get more opportunity. But then he also brought up those that he feels I should say, do need to leave when the contracts are up. Refuse any offer to stay and just go. Those, of course, being Cesaro, Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, and Ricochet. Why? Because he feels they're not being given, I should say, the treatment that they truly deserve. And I will agree on a lot of what Alyx says here, because he is right. The four men that he labeled as those that should leave have all the tools and capabilities to be top players in the company. And yes, news has come out recently, and even Alyx kind of acknowledged this, that basically there are discussions for plans to probably focus more on stars like Cesaro and even Chad Gable in the near future as far as SmackDown is concerned. But still, Alyx feels that despite that, they should leave the moment the contracts are up. Now, here's the thing. When Alyx comes out and says, something along the lines of, if Cesaro was to go to AEW, they should just automatically make him the champion right away because he's that good. Or, Sami Zayn should go to AEW and he'd be able to, probably keep the character semi to what he has now, but he would be able to be a little bit more freelance and he'd be able to have more better, in-ring matches than what he's having right now. And the same could be said for Chad Gable. He feels Chad Gable could do the same thing for AEW, maybe go to New Japan, take a page out of what CJ Parker did when he became Juice Robinson, and basically have a restart in Japan. Ricochet, same thing. He feels that Ricochet, despite the fact that he comes out and says, hey, I'm happy where I'm at, I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, living my dream, that Ricochet should leave as well and go elsewhere, like AEW or Impact or Japan or whatever opportunity may present itself. But here's the thing, even though those are great ideas and I totally agree with them, here's the thing. It comes down to two situations, or three actually. One, it's up to the wrestlers themselves if they feel like they want to leave and explore other options. Two, WWE, when it comes to negotiating, has a smart strategy, has a smart mapped out strategy when it comes to using certain words to convince superstars to resign for another few years. Basically, they have great negotiating skills beyond anybody else. And three, most importantly, in my opinion, even though they don't pretty much expose it, or people like Brian Alvarez or Dave Meltzer don't come out and say it, or Mike Johnson don't come out and say it, WWE has people, I should say, under their employment that do watch our YouTube videos. They do. They have people under their employment as part of their social media services or division that watch our videos, jot down notes, hand those notes up to the higher-ups, hoping that the higher-ups will be able to get it to the likes of a Bruce Pritchard, probably most likely, and if they're lucky enough, to the likes of a Triple H or Vince McMahon, to, be looked over and taken into consideration for future possibilities and ideas and pushes. But here's the deal. Even though those people in the social media division watch our videos, jot down on notes and then hand what the information they've jotted down off to the superiors to hand off to those above them. Pretty much, here is what could happen. Here's pretty much what I feel could happen, if not does happen. And Alyx, what you do sometimes when it comes to your series of what WWE fans want, what fans want versus corporate, you should definitely be doing something along these lines, because I feel this is something that does happen in WWE. You know, as far as the social media division is concerned, like I said, they'll have people jot down, you know, what people like you say in your video, you know, hand that information off to their higher ups, their superiors, to hand off to their superiors to get to basically the highest point it can. We all know what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. They're going to basically, you know, jot down the notes. They're going to jot them down, you know, what you say, like with your recent video on the contract situation. They're going to jot them down. They're going to hand that information off to the superiors. The superiors are going to look at it, and this is what's going to happen. They're going to say, "Oh, thank you, John. Let's see who you took notes on today. Oh, you took notes on just Alyx, and oh, he was talking about the current contract situation, some contracts being up next year. Okay, I'll do what I can to get this to, you know, the right people to take under consideration for future use in the future. But I think we all know what's going to happen, don't we, John?" Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we do. But remind me again what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll take this to the right people to hand off to, hopefully, Bruce Pritchard at probably the best situation. And this is what's going to happen. Bruce will look at it and, you know, look at the ideas, look at the complaints, and this is what he'll do. Oh, that's just Alyx. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I should go take this to Triple H or Vince. I'll have a great laugh at this. That kid, he don't know what he's talking about because he don't work here. He only wants this to happen because he wants his dream matches. He wants his dream matchups. That's the only reason he wants these guys to leave. Well, we'll make sure they stay. We have a way with words. That's basically it. And then this is what they'll do. Bruce will hand it off, possibly to, you know, Triple H or Vince or whoever. Or if not, and if he doesn't have the time to do it, this is what's going to happen. If that's a superior to the person that jots down the notes from watching the video, hands it off to them, you know, and they hand it off to Bruce, Bruce will have a chuckle out of it, and then this is what will happen eventually. They'll throw it away. Why? Because all we as fans are doing is just coming out and saying, we want this. This is what we want. We want. We're not coming out and saying, okay, this is my opinion. This is what I would like to see happen. This is what I would like to see occur. Because we're not taking into consideration the three things that I've mentioned. The fact that it's up to the superstars, the fact that WWE has a way with words when it comes to negotiating, and 3, the fact that they have people in the social media division that will basically write down and jot down notes of the videos they watch of wrestling fans like Alyx or Solomonster or Greg Morgan or the Shag Daddy or even myself or whoever, JD from NY206. They'll jot down those notes. They'll hand them off to the superior. The superior will get a chuckle out of them. Then hand them off possibly to Kevin Dunn or Bruce Pritchard if they can. One of those guys will get a chuckle out of them. And then, instead of maybe trying to get it to Triple H or Vince, instead of taking into consideration, this is what will happen. They'll throw it away. Because to them, it's just fans coming out saying, I want. Not coming out and saying, it's my opinion. Because again, Alyx, I get what you're saying. You're right. There are superstars either next year or in the years to come that when their contracts expire, they should leave. They should get out of there and go apply their craft elsewhere, in other promotions. Because they have more opportunity now. But again, we have to take into consideration the three things that I mentioned. The number one thing is it's up to the superstars themselves. 2, WWE has a way with words when it comes to negotiating or renegotiating contracts. And 3, basically they also have people in the social media division that will jot down notes as to the videos that they watch from the various wrestling fans out there, or even the wrestling personalities in the business that all feel the same way, hand it off to the superiors, who will get a chuckle out of it, look it over and everything, and then try to hand it off to someone like Kevin Dunn or Bruce Pritchard or whoever will listen, or whoever take the time of day to look at it and and maybe take it into consideration. And all that will happen is it will get ignored. It'll be crumpled up, thrown in the trash. It'll be filed away to never be utilized. Stuff like that, because of the fact that all they see from us as fans is us individually saying on video, on camera, we want, or I want, instead of saying, I would like to see, or this is my opinion of what I would like to see. Stuff like that. So again, Alyx, I'm totally with you on this. I'm totally with you. But again, we have to remember 3 things. It's up to the superstars themselves. WWE has a way with words when it comes to negotiating or renegotiating talents, contracts. And 3, most importantly, they have people, writing down notes by watching our videos in the social media division, handing those notes that they've jotted down to the superiors, and the superiors, if they can do it, handing it off to whoever they feel will take it under consideration. And all that's going to happen is our notes, your complaints, is going to get crumpled up and thrown in the trash, or filed away, never to be used. I mean, I guarantee you, if they were to do, I guarantee this, but put it this way, if Dark Exploration Films was to do an abandoned segment on the Stamford, Connecticut headquarters of WWE, which by the way, WWE is considering relocating their headquarters in the future. That's been a rumor going around that might have some fire to it, smoke to it, I should say. Let's say one day they decide to explore an abandoned former WWE headquarters in Stamford. What if they would have come across a file cabinet that was forgotten, and they would have opened it up, they would have pried it open, and inside is all the complaints, is all the ideas, all the rants that fans like Alyx, Solomonster, Schleg Daddy, myself, JD from NY206, what if it was filled to the brim with all those complaints, all those thoughts, all those suggestions? And yet they've never been utilized at all. And why? Because that's what WWE thinks about them. They just file them onto the not going to consider section of the filing cabinet and forget about them. And I would not be surprised if there's a cabinet or several file cabinets full of these kind of files out there, or at the WWE headquarters. Because again, they have people watching our videos in the social media divisions that jot down the notes, like I said, and hand it off to the superiors. They do. And, it's not speculation, it's not theory, it's not overthinking. I believe it's fact, and I believe it's true. Now, we could come out and say that when certain things happen, probably within 24 hours of us complaining about it, yeah, we can come out and take credit for it and say, oh, well, see, you can thank me now because this happened. And that's fine. We could take credit, but we know in reality that it's just an ironic coincidence that all of a sudden this happened. It wasn't because of one video changing the guard. It was because of an ironic coincidence. And that's it. And I think that's all we have to look at. Look at it is, if you know what I mean. But the point is, though, again, getting back on topic, because I know I sound like I'm rambling here. It's about 1:33 in the morning on this Saturday, so I am a little tired, so I do apologize if I'm rambling or spacing a little bit, so I do apologize. But basically, like I said, getting back on topic here, I do agree with Alyx. Again, I do agree with what he said on this, But again, Alyx, you have to take into consideration the 3 things. Number 1, it's up to the wrestlers themselves. Number 2, WWE has a way with words when it comes to negotiating or renegotiating contracts. And 3, WWE in the social media divisions have people that watch our videos, jot down notes, hand it off to the superiors, and the superiors, they will laugh it off knowing that once they hand it off to someone like a Bruce Pritchard or Kevin Dunn, or if they're lucky, a Triple H or Vince McMahon, that it too will be laughed off by them and either thrown away or filed for never to be future use, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, Alyx, again, I get what you're coming from. I know Solomon understands where you're coming from. I know Schleg Daddy does. I know Greg Morgan, Good Mic Work does. All of them do. But here's the thing. Again, I know I sound repetitive here when I say it, but again, we have to put into consideration three things. It's up to the superstars, WWE's way with words when it comes to renegotiating contracts, and three, that they have people that watch our videos jot down notes, hand off those notes to the superiors, and the superiors laughing it off knowing they're not going to get taken seriously. So yeah, again, I get what you're saying, Alyx, but all WWE hears, thanks to the social media, that third thing I talked about, is all they hear from you is, I want. You know, when you say you want Daniel Bryan to consider leaving, it's not saying, you're not coming out and saying, I would like to see Daniel consider it. No, you're saying, I want to see Daniel consider it. Or when you say, Ricochet, you should leave. You know, I want you to leave. Get the F out and all that. It's, to WWE, it's not you saying, I would like to see Ricochet consider leaving. In my opinion, I would like to see him go elsewhere. Instead, you're saying, I want. And again, I know you did the video where you say that the reason you complain is because you love wrestling. And I respect that. Totally respect that. Because I do the same thing. JD does the same thing. Slag Daddy does the same thing. Everybody does the same thing. But the point is, no matter how much we complain, until this pandemic is over and fans actually get into the building to voice our complaints along with us, WWE's not going to listen. They're not going to listen. The moment fans start showing up physically in person at these events is when WWE's going to be like, oh, okay, maybe we need to do something with this person, or maybe we need to do something with that person, or that man, or this woman. That's when they're going to start listening. And you know that to be fact. But I just wanted to come on here. Again, I know it's late. I know I sound like I rambled, was spacing out a bit. Again, I am tired. But I just wanted to come out here and do a response video to what Alyx said on his channel about the contract deal, and the fact that he has a point. There's no doubt about that. But he also has to consider the three things that I mentioned. It's up to the wrestlers, WWE's way of, with words when it comes to negotiating or renegotiating contracts, and also the fact that we have to realize they do have people in the social media division that watch our videos, that jot down notes, hand them off to the superiors to try to get them looked at by the higher-ups like a Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, or even a Daniel Bryan maybe, who knows, but mostly Kevin Dunn, Bruce Pritchard, Triple H, and a Vince McMahon, only to realize that if we're lucky enough that it gets to, let's say, Hunter and Vince, that just like the superior is going to do, once he gets it handed off to him by the person that watches it and takes down the notes, it's going to get laughed off. It's going to get laughed off, thrown in the trash, and forgotten, or be filed away to be forgotten. And that's a fact. So, just wanted to come on here again. I know I sound like I'm rambling. As you can tell, I'm a little tired too. But I just wanted to do my response to Alyx here. And Alyx, if you want to respond back, I'd really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying your content, and then you giving your opinions on what how you feel certain things should be handled and done. But let me know what you guys think down below. Check out Alyx's video. I'll provide a link in the video in Oceans at the end here so you guys can check it out. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, and I am out. Have a good night.